Welcome back everyone. So now in this video we are going to be focusing on Axios, using Axios to connect to our APIs, as well as pretty much using our handle submit forms to make the blog post. That way it'll save into our database. So the first things first that we want to do is, of course, we want to make sure that we are importing what we're going to use. So we're going to import Axios from Axios, just like that. Okay, and then we are going to use two things in order to, one, connect to our API, and then two, in order to store our variables. That way we can use them later on. So the two things are these React hooks called use state and use effect. So use effect is what we're going to use to help connect to our API, and use state is going to be help us store our values. That way we can use it later on. So if you can think of, let's say you are going to the beach and you of course want to take some beverages, water, juice, or let's say soda. So in order to take those, you want to use a cooler. You want to keep it fresh. You want to keep it, cold, right? So you can use your use state. You have your cooler. You take your beverage of choice. You store them in the cooler. That way, once you get to the beach, you can pretty much use your take out any beverage that you want to drink and drink from it, right? And the same thing goes with our React use state here. So we have our variables that we are going to define in a bit. We're going to store them into our use state. That way we can use them later on. Okay. And as we progress a little bit more into the video, we'll show that as well. So what we're going to do first is we are going to, let me just put this here. Okay, we are going to define our use state, okay, variables. So we are going to say const, and then the first thing is the title, because those are the values: title, preview. Let me just change this really quickly. Title, preview, and post. Okay, so we are going to be storing that. So we're going to say const title set title equals use state, and then quotes, just like that. Const, next one, const preview set preview equals use state, and then again with quotes, just like that. And lastly, we have the const post set post equals use state, and lastly, just like that. Oh, I cannot spell. Okay, not popped. Post. Okay. All right, just like that. And what we're gonna pretty much be doing, right, with the use state is when a user types in the title, let's say, we're going to be taking that title and then saving it or storing it into our use state here, our set title, right? And then once the user finishes filling out the form and then clicking submit, we are going to be pretty much putting this into our title, just like that, our new schema, right? Or our new blog. Okay. And then the same thing goes for the preview. The user types in their preview, right? It gets stored into our use state set preview variable. And then once they click submit, it'll store into our database into the preview section. Okay, and the same thing goes for our post. Our user types in their thoughts or their post, right, or their blog post, and then we take that, we input it into our set post use state. Okay, then once they click submit blog, it gets posted into the post here, right? So it's just like that. It works just like that. So let's just refresh the page here. Okay, perfect. So now that we have our const, we are going to use our use effect. So to help re-render the page as well. So once they click submit blog, it'll show automatically in our console. And I'll show you what I mean as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say use effect, just like that, and then we're going to define a function, but define a variable, but it's going to be called fetch blogs. Okay, just like that, and then we're going to call it. So in the next line, this is where we are going to define the variable fetch blogs. So const fetch blogs equals, and then just as if you're making a function. Okay, and now we are going to connect to our API. Okay, so we're going to say Axios. Okay, dot, we don't want to put there, dot get, and then you can just go into your Postman, just copy and paste this here, copy and then paste this here. Okay, let me just see, I'm getting so much errors here. Okay, perfect. So copy and pasting that there, and then you just want to get the response with the data, and then you just want to console.log, and you want to get the response and the data, just like that. Okay, so as you can see, everything looks good. We have our APIs here, as you can see too, and we are successfully connected to our APIs. We have our first one, because remember we only had two, the I like video games and the Fridays that we updated. So we have all video games, and then if we go to one here, we'll go to, because it's almost a weekend, Fridays. So perfect, it's connected perfectly. And you just want to make this just in case as well. Use an empty array list inside the brackets, empty brackets. That way when we type as well, this whole field won't just go crazy. So if you want, we can just take a look here. You see how it's going to just, it's not working now, but it was just working. Yeah, sorry, it was just working. But basically this is helpful when, if you are using any sort of API in the future that only lets you make a certain amount of calls, and you don't just waste your APIs there. And that's definitely helpful, your calls there, and that's definitely helpful, right? So let's just, where do we take that? Yes, okay, so whatever. So we have this instant here. Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we are going to make our handle submit to add to the form. That way we can take all of these values that we're inputting it, we grab them, and then we just ship it off to be posted into our data. Okay, making a new blog.